But again, the election is only 5 days away, and things are definitely heating up in what will be the most expensive campaign in U.S. history, expected to cost more than $14 billion. That's insane. But here's an update so you don't have to follow yourself. First, let's talk about the polls. There hasn't been much change since last week when the latest CNN poll of polls has Biden with an astounding 12-point lead with 5 days to go. At this point, Hillary was polling at 3 to 5 points higher than Trump. But Biden is also polling really well in battleground states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, and surprisingly, there are extremely close races in Texas and Georgia, which we will get to in a bit. Second, let's talk about voter turnout. As of yesterday, more than 75.5 million votes have been cast in early voting, and that represents 55% of the total turnout in 2016. More states this year have allowed people to vote before Election Day due to COVID, opening the polls early or voting by mail to avoid the large crowds on Election Day on Tuesday. And listen to this. Texas has received over 8.4 million votes, which represents 94% of the total vote that was received in 2016, and Florida has contributed 72% of their total vote. Democrats are voting in huge margins compared to Republicans, but Republicans are catching up and likely to vote on Election Day because they ain't scared of COVID, and the president has done what he can to delegitimize the mail-in process. Third, Biden and fellow Democrats have crushed many fundraising records and a lot more cash right now than Republicans, allowing them to flood the airwaves with so much advertising to drive home their message. So if we take these three factors and put them together, it is highly likely that Joe Biden will become the 46th president of the United States. And I am ready to announce the Gringo Show's Electoral Map Prediction for 2020. Drum roll. Wait, we're not so technical here. We don't have like things to do. All right, so guys, can you help me? Drum roll, please. All right, here is my Gringo prediction map. Joe Biden will win the presidency with 311 electoral votes, winning all the states that he needs to claim victory. Let's see how I do. We'll look at the electoral maps over the next couple of weeks and see if I got it right. You can also go to our Facebook Live or YouTube to see the map again. We'll see how we did. But wait a minute. If you're a Biden fan, before you open that champagne or in Tecate Light or eat a gringa, remember, this is 2020. Anything can happen. Supposedly, there is a meteor headed to Earth. So who knows? Let's remember the things we've been talking about. Number one, the Russians. And now we've learned that the Iranians and possibly the Chinese are trying to influence the election or hack and change the polls. Second, Trump is trying to legitimize the election by calling fraud even before votes are counted. A lot of mail-in ballots can be lost. There will be a lot of legal challenges. And remember, now with the new Supreme Court justice, they may make decisions that will tilt in Trump's favor. Remember 2000 between Bush and Gore, and here in Mexico in 2006 between AMLO and Calderon. But finally, let's talk about one more variable that we've been talking about here on the Gringo Show for months, the Latino vote. Latinos are not polling for Biden with the same numbers that they voted for Hillary in 2016. There are ideas that many are moving towards religious conservatism, trending to be against immigration, and simply a lot of machismo. And this could be pivotal in states like Arizona, Florida, and now Texas, because some pollsters and strategists think that Biden can win Texas. This is extraordinary because Texas hasn't chosen a Democratic president since 1976. If Joe Biden wins this state, game over. The election will be win. And billionaire, former New York City mayor, and the guy responsible for Mexico's sugar tax, Michael Bloomberg, has poured millions of dollars into the last-minute advertising. And now Kamala Harris, the VP nominee, will make a campaign appearance tomorrow in McAllen, Texas. The Rio Grande Valley is rich with Democratic votes and hasn't seen the same turnout as the rest of the state. So here's my challenge to you, Mexican Americans, Mexicans, or anybody who's watching this. If you know anybody in the Rio Grande Valley who is registered to vote and hasn't voted yet, urge them to do so because they can decide the outcome of this election.